Why are we here? Why God alone? In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Imagine an infinitely powerful, all-loving God wants to create human beings that He loves to perfectly experience all His infinite love and joy and bliss. But in order for humans to experience this in heaven, humans must also exist in hell, a place full of negative emotions, hate, fear, anger, etc. And they must suffer for an eternity, while the others are in heaven for infinity. This is because in order for human beings to become aware, i.e. activate their souls, they need to become aware of good and evil, i.e. positive and negative emotions. If there was no contrast, dualities, we would not know we exist, like animals. Adam and Eve only fell from heaven when they tasted from the tree of knowledge. How do you know what light is if you have never experienced dark, etc.? If God put His believers in heaven and the disbelievers in hell without this test on earth, it would not run smoothly, and God is perfect. This is because the humans in heaven, being God's chosen ones, compassionate in nature, would not be able to enjoy themselves while innocent people suffer in hell. Therefore, God created this whole universe, this whole life on earth as a test to see who is worthy of heaven and who deserves to go to hell. He also gave us complete free will, the ability to do good and bad, so the people who go to hell will not have an excuse on the Day of Judgment. He made it appear as if He is completely absent from this universe, therefore creating evolution, but at the same time leaving His signs in His creation, i.e. the laws of physics, gravity, the golden ratio in nature, etc. These are the truth. He also made angels and fallen angels, demons, jinns, to plant good and bad thoughts in our minds. We all chose to partake in this test. God is not cruel. He took a covenant with all of us before we came to this world. We all said we would be good, remember Him alone, and not cause corruption, because we all wanted eternal bliss in heaven so badly. Now, why the importance of remembering God alone? Human beings know that being compassionate is the truth. That is because no one likes to experience negative emotions themselves. Therefore, we are all born with this inherent knowledge from God, i.e. our souls, that inflicting these negative emotions on others, i.e. pain, anger, fear, is wrong. This is the truth. God made human beings so that they will always think about things while they are conscious, awake. Even when people are so-called meditating and picturing a black space, they are thinking about a black space. They cannot help but think. Our thoughts can easily lead us to obsessions, i.e. having something material created on your mind most of the time. This is very dangerous, as it can become your God, i.e. your intentions and focus all go on this created or many created things. Anything you can perceive with your senses is created, and this leads to greed, no doubt. Greed feeds Satan, as it leads to negative emotions being given out towards others, i.e. pain, suffering, etc. The only way you cannot be greedy is by being completely balanced, i.e. only taking from this life what you need and not what you want. The only way you can achieve this is by changing your intentions before you think or do anything, i.e. am I being good for the sake of being good, or to please others, or am I being greedy for my ego? The only way to achieve this is by remembering God alone all the time, before you think or do anything. This will ensure you are not giving out negative emotions and feeding Satan, the source of all corruption. This is because the one true God, He created everything, is above the highest point of all the positive emotions such as compassion, mercy, etc. This is why it is the truth that you must remember God alone all the time. Otherwise you are feeding Satan, which is leading to corruption and leading to the pain and suffering of others. I hope I have made this clear, God willing. Now Satan is behind all the corruptions in all forms, some which are not easy to spot. The truth is there is one true God, one human race and one true religion, i.e. being compassionate human beings. This means putting everyone else first before yourself. If you believe in 1 billion people living in peace and harmony while one innocent suffers in pain and suffering, you are not compassionate. I repeat, you are not compassionate at all. You have become an evil, soulless creature who is feeding Satan and is worthy of hell. Idolizing besides God leads to this in every form, and I will explain why. When you are part of a religion which has a partner or many partners besides God, you are dividing the human race. Fact. Remember the true religion. One God, one human race, like Malcolm X and many others said. This is because you are saying to people, look, we're good people. We believe in one God. But in order to join us and believe in the one God, you must also add so-and-so's name. Or you must say God's name in so-and-so's name. Every organized religion does this today. Fact. They say you must pray to God in so-and-so's name, something created. Or without asking God to bless so-and-so, something created, He will not accept you. By doing or even believing in this, you have divided the human race. Remember, one God, one human race. You have created sects which think they are better than the other because they follow their own traditions and customs which have nothing to do with God. These sects give off tons of negative emotions which feed Satan. By being part of these organized religions, you are feeding Satan, even if you think you are a good person and not doing anything wrong. This is because you are agreeing with all the corruption they are causing, even if you are not causing it yourself. Agreeing with something wrong is just as bad as doing it yourself. I hope I have made this clear, God willing. God says in His holy book, the Quran, that having partners besides God, even if you don't actually think you have partners, causes divisions and turns people away from the path of God. This is the truth. Causes much corruption. By doing this, God also makes it possible for them to change His laws by adding into them or taking away from them. This is because they have left strict monotheism, i.e. one true God, one religion, remembering God alone all the time and obeying His commandments, which keeps society free from corruption, i.e. feeding Satan. Some people think, what's the harm in this or that? It's just a little habit, I only do it here and there. You need to look at the act on a global level. Is it giving off positive or negative emotions long term? If they are not positive, then it is wrong for you to do so, and you are feeding, worshipping Satan. The question is, are you willing to give up your worldly desires in order for the truth and remember God alone all the time? Worldly desires can be anything, from your ego, to your family, to your people, to your lusts, to your organized religions, which say in order to worship God, you must add other names to in your prayer. Your intention becomes for something material created. If not, if you are not willing to remember God alone, the one true compassionate God, the majority of the time, if not all the time, then your God has become Satan. You have proved to the people in heaven that you're an evil creature without an ounce of compassion, who would rather let evil exist as long as they can follow their lusts and desires. Now we know they're evil, but why are they going to be in hell forever? The way I see it is, if someone dies without believing in God alone, they have no compassion. This means that if God created them in heaven, without this test of earth, this whole universe, and put innocent people in hell, they would happily see innocent people suffer for infinity, as long as they are happy receiving their pleasure. They would not know why the people are in hell and would not care. This is because as long as their sect or group of people in heaven are okay, who cares about the others? They truly are evil creatures with no compassion. This is why the believers in the believers in heaven would not feel sorry for the people in hell. This makes perfect sense to me now, and I've always wondered this. The believers in heaven will know that if they were innocently put in hell, and the people in hell were put in heaven, they would happily see them burn forever, without even wondering why, without an ounce of compassion. The thing is, we all chose this test. God and the believers will know that even if they were given infinite chances to redeem themselves and believe in God alone, they would fail every time. This is because they are corrupt, evil creatures who have lost their souls, as God says in His holy book, the Quran. The Quran tells us to remember God alone all the time, without mentioning any other names.